Hi, I'm going to discuss few very important events happened in last 2-3 days in the world. So let's start with the India. So we have recently seen that our Vice President CP Radhakrishnan have visited to the Sri Lanka to meet with the President Anura Kumar Desanke and the Prime Minister Harini. So they have discussed the bilateral. They have done the discussion on the bilateral ties to improve the people-to-people contact. But most importantly, three things. First, the India Sri Lanka oil pipeline. Second, about the fishermen issues between the two countries, and the third is the housing scheme, which India is providing the housing is facility to the Indian origin Tamils into the Sri Lanka who got migrated at the time of the colonization. Second news is about that we have recently seen that United Nations Security Council have declared that North Korea is continuously increasing its nuclear weapon program again. So now 2 days before we have seen that North Korea again fired around dozens of short-range ballistic missiles into the eastern sea of the North Korea. And the next one is about, I want to put some fact related to the casualties happened because of the recent conflict between US and Israel. So far, Israel said that whatever attack they have done on the Hezbollah, they have killed around 144 Hezbollah fighters into the Lebanon. So far, there are 3,000 people have died in Iran, 2,300 people have died in Lebanon, and around 13 US military personnel have been killed. There are, if we see the figure in Israel itself, there are around 23 civilians, 13 military personnel have been killed in Israel also. The next news is about that dozens of officers from India have visited to the Washington, USA, for that your trade deal, bilateral trade deal. So I want to tell you that why this trade deal is in so much discussion, why so many officers from custom officers from India have visited to the Washington. So the main story of this tariff was starting of 2025. So we have seen that in the April 2025, what Trump did, he used a act, the 1977 act. He said that act was International Emergency Economic Power Act, 1977 act. This act provide and give the power to the president to apply the sanctions, to apply the tariff on the export of the other country into the USA. So basically, USA in April 2025 applied the tariffs on the India, that is 25% reciprocal tariffs, and again at the end of or in the mid of 2025, June July, USA applied additional 25% tariffs on India, saying that India is purchasing a Russian oil. So the total tariff went up to 50% on Indian goods into the USA market. So later, at the end of the 2025, so far we have seen there is a total of 50% tariff on Indian goods in the USA market. But at the end of the 2025, in the starting of January 2026, what USA said, Trump came, as we have seen that Trump saying something today, and after today he said something else. So what happened in the January 2026? He said that India is now not going to purchase the Russian oil, so we are removing additional 25% tariff from India, and we are also going to reduce that 25% reciprocal tariff to 18%. So in 2026, the 50% bar came to the 26%. But later in 20th February 2026, Supreme Court of USA said that that act that I told you in the initially 1977 International Emergency Economic Power Act, they said this is unconstitutional here. There is no emergency situation exists in the US currently, in the US market, So it is unconstitutional. So that 18% tariff wiped out. But 2 days after this ruling, on 24th February 2026, USA took the help of other act. There is a Trade Power Act 1974. There is a section there is a section 122 of this Trade Power Trade Act. Trade Act 1974. He used this section 122. This gives the power to the US president to apply the tariff, apply the sanctions, apply the tariffs only to the foreign countries' export into the USA market for next 150 days. And the tariff can be imposed up to 15%. So Trump in April, April 2026, in February 24, 2026, applied 10% sanction. So now we wanted to do a trade deal with the USA, so that we don't face such up and down like on year basis, because we have seen that sometime 25%, sometime 50%, like that. So this is about the important news in last 2-3 days. This will be very important for you, and you can go through like internet to figure out more about this and collect more data. Thank you.